Mark Hill from Greenleafs. Perhaps the most surprising result from the 2019 local elections was the huge success of the independents. Now, it wasn't commentated on particularly at the time, and the reason is because independents don't have an articulate spokesperson as such, and yet there was a stunning increase in their number of seats, and that's partly because independents tend to have the same problems organising across the entirety of the country that the established political parties in particular have. In terms of growth and number of seats, they did almost as well as the Liberal Democrats, and they scored a stunning 25% of the vote overall, rather than plus the other small parties, including the Green Party. Good result for the independents. Most local election voters who were given the choice of an independent voted very heavily for them, particularly where the choice was between an independent and a Conservative. And one of the victors that comes out of that particular contest is the treasurer of this very group, who stood as an independent in Catterick in North Yorkshire, Richmondshire, and has won his first ever election, I believe, Leslie Rowe. So do look him up, we'll provide a reference. The independents and their success shows that where it is possible to organise outside the major parties, the established parties, people are very open to the message. And where we don't see that, then the alternative happens. People spoil their ballots, or they vote against their conscience for a party that represents change, but not particularly a change that they hope to see. So we've got plenty of Conservatives voting Green, for example, because they don't like Labour. Now, that limitation, the tilting of elections by who can stand won't exist in the European elections. In the European elections, anybody who's got access to, I think it's something like £2,500 per region, and I think there are about 12 regions and a list of perhaps 5 to 11, 12 candidates per region, can organise a party election broadcast and some leaflets, even Change UK from a standing start, and it would appear really dodgy internal organisation, will be able to stand a full slate and put up some sort of presence. And therefore the selection, the variety of parties that a voter will be able to choose between will be much richer than they will typically have had at a local election. So here in my local election in Calderdale, I was only given the option of Remain supporting candidates, and that limitation will not be a problem in the European election. And the 52% of people who voted in favour of Leave in 2016 will therefore, if they wish, be able to vote for somebody who more truly views honours their views about the European Union than a typical major party candidate. One interesting detail, here in Yorkshire we had a large number of Yorkshire Party candidates who stood and did also quite well in including in taking several seats in Yorkshire. They're not an independent group, but they are pretty independent of mainstream politics, and they also did extremely well.